What's up, Rad fam? How are you doing tonight? We hope that you're having a blessed evening. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. We got special guests, no other than my man, Jarrell Flowers. Give it up, guys. Give me a hand emoji. Give me a mic. Give me a punch. We are excited. How you doing, man?
Bro, I'm doing good. It's good to be in here, bro. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
it's been a good minute. So excited.
It's been a good minute, and I think we were just talking and how it's funny how one of the first times you came, because you came times before, but the times you host different events here, it was just funny because we were just talking how it just landed on 10-year mark and on the same day, and it's funny, man. And listen, man, we're excited to have you, me and Martin, and we've been talking about you in a good way, about your music.
Praise God.
We just found out that Jarrell loves rock. So he's my man. If you haven't heard my man's music yet, go to iTunes, go to YouTube, Spotify, anywhere, Apple, you got it. Go listen to my man.
Yeah. I'm a hip hop dude who loves rock. So I hope that shows through my music, man. But yeah, songs like White Rags, Social Suicide that you were talking about, even On God has that. That kind of stuff in it.
That Social Suicide, just that guitar riff. Oh, bro. That's just something that pumps me up. So how's it going with the kids being at home? And I know you already do homeschooling, right?
Yeah, okay. So we homeschooled. I homeschooled for the past 2 years. And then before that, my wife was doing the homeschooling. So past 2 years, I figured out that was not my calling. Homeschooling was not my calling. So we started like looking for schools, and I was like, this was before the whole COVID thing ended up happening. So we were looking for schools. We found a school called Great Hearts, man, and charter school. Really love it. But because of everything that was going on with COVID, they were phasing people in. So this week, actually, they started phasing people back in on campus. So my daughters had 2 days on campus. Next week, they'll have 3 days on campus. And so it's been weird. Like, they don't want to do online school anymore. They're like, Dad, you're not as good of a teacher as we thought after all. You're all we ever knew. Now we know something different.
2 plus 2 isn't 6, Dad.
I mean, they're great, and I think they're just excited to have that school experience. And so, I think it was, what's the day, bro? Oh, Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday, which is yesterday, that was the first day that I had in a long time where I was just at home by myself getting stuff done. And I was like, I could get used to this.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a girl dad, right?
I am. I have 2 girls. One is 11, or she's about to be 11, and then the other one is 7 years old. So I have 2 girls, man, and praying for a son. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to have a little Jarrell running around rapping. You know what I'm saying? JJ, Jarrell Jr.
Jarrell Jr. JJ.
That's right.
You heard it right here.
He's announcing they're having a baby, guys.
Oh my God.
Send text messages. Look for his registration at Baby RS.
Your wife is texting you right now. When were you gonna let me know about this?
My whole leg's like getting the text, bro. Getting the text with the phone in my pocket. So yeah, I mean, it's been cool, man. I love the fact that they're happy about going to school. Like, that's really been cool. I think the school itself has been, it kind of lines up with like our beliefs, even though it's a charter public school, kind of lines up with a lot of things that we believe in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, man.
Your dad's a pastor as well.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your dad, and if you don't mind, maybe like a little bit of y'all's history of what y'all accomplished and what y'all done. If y'all don't know his dad,
bro,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
His dad is amazing. I can just see him, and I always just start crying. He's a great, my dad and your dad. My dad loves your dad, and he's always speaking highly of him.
Yeah, bro. So my dad is. I think it would be safe to say that he's like in the city of San Antonio, he's like a legend, bro. Like, he is, like, I don't know, man. So I grew up with him being in the military. He got out and ended up starting this boot camp called Christian Boot Camp. And so he did that. He had this thing with the city to where parolees would go into the boot camp, and that'd be like some of their time or whatever. And so like he was doing a lot of that. Went into full-time ministry, and so he was doing youth ministry. Went into associate pastor, and then the guy who started the church that he's at now ended up handing the church over to him. And so he's been pastoring for about 20 years there as the lead pastor, associate pastor even longer. So, I mean, he's just, and in like during that time, there's just been stuff, y'all know the stuff that's come up in the city, and he's like the one that's running into the flame, bro, to save the city. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the one always like standing up, and so I just appreciate that. And then plus like it's cool to have like a dad that you can look up to. Like I don't even take that for granted anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not a lot of people have a dad they can actually look up to and somebody who's actually taught them how to be a man. You know what I'm saying?
And
like
your dad's so bold.
Yeah.
Would you say that you carry that boldness? And I honestly, I know you have that boldness, but have you ever felt in your life where you can be like, man, I thank God for my dad because he built me? Like, has there been a situation, like a season where you can honestly say like, man, thank dad for Pops because man, if he didn't give me that strength or,
Yeah, bro. So quick story, man. So when I first started doing hip hop, right? I started this group, right? And it was called Resurrected Soldiers, bro. We were doing stuff all around San Antonio, doing that whole thing. And this was like when No Limit was hot and like Lil Wayne
way back.
Yeah, like when he was first coming out. And so like so everybody was like wearing their the No Limit Soldiers camouflage. And that's what we were doing, bro. Like we had that whole thing. So the way that started is somebody asked me to do a hip hop show. They heard that I wrote raps. I never performed. And so I was like, yo, I'm about to do this show, but I can't do this by myself. Let me call some of these guys to help with the show. And so that started becoming a group, right? And so we ended up doing the group thing, and it became very toxic. It became very negative. You know what I'm saying? Even though we were like doing a whole lot of like awesome things for the Lord, it became like the dynamics became weird, right? So I ended up having to leave, and I had to make that decision. When I was making that decision to leave, the guys were like, yo, it's not me trying to throw them under the bus, by the way. What it is, right? Yeah. So they were like, yeah. So they were like, yo, like if you're, because I had to go up there and tell them, like, man, God, I feel like God's telling me to leave this thing, and they were like, man, you can't do that, da da da. And so they ended up, they were like, man, if God told you to leave and we start blowing up, don't try to come back because it was the Lord that told you to leave. And I was like, and it was like my baby too, because I started it, you know what I'm saying? But thank God for my dad, and also I would say thank God for other people, like other father figures, other elders like in the church that were telling me like, nah, fam, like you got to get out of there, you know what I mean? And so like, but I think because my dad had that boldness, you know what I'm saying, to always do the right thing and not compromise, then when it came time for me, like I couldn't just stay in situations where I felt like, man, this is compromise. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't stay there. So, man, it's just stuff like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that was just, the boldness just showed up in situations like that.
So let me ask you a question. So over the years, I remember when you came over here about 10 years ago, and you came another time after that. It was incredible. Now, in the past 10 years, I've noticed how you moved. Now, I follow him on the socials like everyone else does. He's a great man of God and does some incredible things. And you always want to know, what's Jarrell doing? What's he up to? You always want to see one of your posts, right? Whether you're starting Rise or going out, you're always doing something different. Now, when God moves in you to do something different, how often do you go back to your dad or these elders in the church to give you advice? How often do you do that? Or what stirs inside of you that draws you to move to the next phase in your life? Because you've been a person that's been making moves. And I see some people where they're scared to step out. we'll jump to your song, right? Dreams to reality, right?
Yeah. Man, bro. So there's, as we like mature in the Lord, like obviously God wants us to make our own decisions, you know what I'm saying, and not just continually running back to people. But I think when there's major decisions, and I'm just feeling like, man, I'm not hearing a direct thing from the Lord right now. The decision needs to be made. I need community, like I need somebody to help steer me in that direction. Then yeah, like it's not a thing, man. I can just call my dad and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like any of that. And so it's also kind of a different dynamic too, because now I don't actually go to my dad's church. I go to Community Bible, right? With Pastor Ed Newton. And so I've just seen that as an expansion of the people that I can call. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just like my dad or some of the elders that are there. Like it's more of like an expansion. Like, oh, now I can call this guy and this guy. Eddie James, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'll hit him up and be like, bro, this is what's going on. What do you think about this from a music, because he's like a father in the faith to me in music. You know what I'm saying? Eddie James is. So just like hitting him up and be like, yo, what do you think? So I think as we grow in the Lord, like our networks grow, you know what I'm saying? And the people that we can actually call, like that grows, you know what I mean?
How was your experience working with them, man? Because it was something new, right? Was it as far as like working with Eddie? Like he's a known person. And did you have any struggles as far as like maybe like questioning maybe if you're good enough? Was there any was the devil attacking you in that season before taking that step into,
Bro, yeah. So Eddie's a legend, bro.
Yeah,
he's like, I mean, Lord, make me a house of prayer, like that song. Breakthrough. Come on, freedom. You know what I'm saying? And so he's like a legendary guy. And so when I was actually traveling with him, Dante was on the road with him too. Dante, he's signed with Bethel now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so he was like on the road with him too. Aaron, who, he plays with Maverick City now. You know what I'm saying? Like all these guys, Joel, who sings with Maverick City. So all these guys were like on the road, and they were just like pouring into like night after night, just getting it done. And so I'm like, bro, like what? Why am I even here, bro? Like I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just thinking I'm like, bro, I'm not like a worship leader. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that for me, because it wasn't ever them that made me feel like I shouldn't be there, because their hearts are great. You know what I'm saying? But I did have that whole like, bro, like, am I really supposed to be here? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this the thing? And so part of it, I had to get over it, bro. And I had to be like, man, if God put me here, then I'm just gonna be here. Like if God opened that door, I'm just gonna walk through it. You know what I mean?
Because didn't you? What side of town did you grow up in?
West.
West side. So like to know that you grew up in the West side, San Antonio, born and raised, on the playground where I spent most of my days. But that just came out. But you spend you hear, and then to know you grew up in the West Side, to making these big moves, and it's so inspiring. And I know you're doing great things with this this organization you started called Rise. Tell us a little bit, Rise, about it.
Yeah. So a little bit of a backstory on that. So while I was with Eddie James, I was also with another guy named Brian Trejo, doing stuff with him with Kingdom Music and all that kind of stuff. And so when I started Rise, I was actually still at my dad's church, and I was doing like all these different things. I was kind of touring and all that, and I just felt like I got to a point, bro. And this I'm gonna be like totally transparent. There was just a whole lot of stuff that was going on, and a whole lot of responsibilities, and I didn't know who I could actually call, you know what I'm saying, to actually talk through those things. And so like, I have a great relationship with my dad. I think it was a little different when it was time to talk about like personal stuff because I was also on staff. So there was just like this interesting dynamic that I had to try to, I don't know, just navigate or whatever. And I was just at a point where I just needed to, like I felt like I needed to just talk to people and just tell them everything. You know what I'm saying? Like all the different things I was talking to, and I was like looking at my phone and I was like, bro, like who am I really gonna call right now that's not gonna look at me another way, like a different way, just because I'm, you know, because I'm supposed to be a leader and all that kind of stuff. And and then I was like, man, I wonder if other creatives are having the same issue, right? Because I'd go out and travel for like 10 days with Eddie James and then come back and like I'm cleaning stuff at the church, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, so I just have like these incredible highs and then like go to these like things where I'm just like, what is happening right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's like the call of like there's this call of like I know I'm supposed to be over there doing that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there's this fight, and so I started thinking about creativity in general and how artists, that's kind of like an artist's journey too. Like if you make something, you know, if you're a creative, you make something and you're like at this peak, and then at the times when you're not performing at that level, you just sink like to the bottom, you know what I mean? And you have nobody to really call. And so I was sitting there like, okay, who am I gonna call? And I didn't really have anybody, so I was like, dude, I'm just gonna invite some creatives over to the house and we're just gonna chill, we're just gonna like fellowship and see what happens. So we ended up doing that, and it started out good. My wife and I, we had some people over. It was about 3 or 4 people that showed up, like it was in our living room or whatever. And I was like, okay, man, maybe I can reach out to more people. So I just threw it out online, and I was like, yo, this is what we're doing. I didn't even give a whole lot of details about it even. I just said, this is what we're doing, this is the heart behind it, but, you know, if you want to do it, let's do it. And like within the first week, we had like 100 people sign up, like, to be a part of it, and they're all creatives, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. I was like, okay, so there's something that's going on there. It just speaks to the need of people who need other people, you know what I'm saying? Like actual real community. So we kept on doing that, bro, and so here we are right now. Like we're making smaller communities. I'm having a community over actually to the house tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? About 20 people, and we're just like, we get together. Sometimes we do house concerts. Our whole thing is we want to take Jesus into the art space of our city. And we want to reach artists. So whatever that looks like, we're trying to do that. So we'll have house concerts and barbecues and things that we just bring people in, jam sessions, you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. And it's been going well now. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of.
So in regards to art, what do you have? Musicians? I'm assuming poetry, probably writers, painters.
Yeah, all of that. So singers, dancers, hip hop artists, producers, visual artists. We even have people in there that are just like down with the vision of taking Jesus into these spaces, and they're not necessarily like they don't like make stuff, but they are great administrators. You know what I'm saying? And they love to like get stuff done. And if you know artists, you know, like that's one of the hardest things for an artist. We just want to make stuff. We don't care about the plan. We just want to make stuff. But we need people who care about the plan. You know what I mean? So we have people like that in our group too, that just help steer the ship. And so it's cool, bro.
That's important. I think that people who you network with, that they know their role, right? I think often like people try to fit into a shoe that wasn't meant for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you said like, just like you said, like, hey, you come in, you come rap. There's people who are not meant to be that type of artist, but the structure of how it goes, like for me, I can have an idea and I can say, hey, this is what I want, but then we have our team that we go through that make it happen, and I think those are like some very important people for us that I think are like the pretty much almost the foundation, because outside of God, because they're the ones who put it together, and we just kind of show up and do our deal without almost lifting a finger when they're the ones putting in the work. And I wanted to ask a question in regards to your music. So when you're creating a new song, what is it that births that song into like reality? Like, is there something that you pray on? Is it an experience? What is it what leads you to your next song?
Yeah, bro, that's a really good question, man. I feed off of just what God's like saying in my life personally, and where that intersects with what I feel like God wants to say to people publicly. Like those are the songs that I choose, because I've always got songs like running in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's a blessing. Like just lyrics and like song melodies and all these just different things just be floating through my head. And so I hear those things, and I think some of those things are just for me. You know, like God uses that gift just for healing and all that stuff for me. But then there's stuff that also needs to be heard out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my question is like, okay, what is God saying to me, but what is God saying to other people out there? And where those lines intersect, those are the songs that I choose. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it tends to be like really prophetic, right? Like it's prophetic in nature. So I'm not just like dropping a song. I'm dropping something that people need to hear and something that I need to hear. So it's authentic and real. And then so once I actually have that message, then I start thinking about the music, and I start thinking about, okay, what is going to help bring this message to life? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the mood? Like, is it aggressive? Is it like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of my music, a lot of it can be aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like that kind of person. I'm just like let's talk, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that kind of person. So a lot of it comes out like that. But some of it, bro, honestly, is just like, especially with this album that I'm working on right now, I just hear stuff that the Lord is just trying to say, and I'm like, okay, this music just needs to bring that out. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a wartime song, bro, then you're gonna hear all the trap. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna hear all the stuff in there. And then, but if it's kind of like a worship, like meditative kind of joint, you know what I'm saying? Then you'll hear like all the pads and everything. It's just whatever needs to happen.
So how do you do it? How do you work it? Do you go into a lockdown mode? You know what? Do you go drive out somewhere real far, get behind closed doors? What do you do to prepare when God's extracting this song or message out of you?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, bro. Like, it really depends on the message, bro. So my Between Dreams and Reality track, so my CD. So with that one, I literally like went out into this retreat center, and it was like 5 days, and I just wrote the whole album. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like me and God and like the deer that were running around. You know what I'm saying? And like just that kind of stuff. So I felt like that was cool because the message on that was between dreams and reality. And sometimes we just need to like lock in with God and just, okay, God, what are you saying to me? What is your dream that you're putting on the inside of me? So I wanted to have that experience when I was writing the project. For this project, it's all about like mission, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like telling a story. So it's got more of like we're out here in the wild, like in the city kind of feel. So on purpose, I didn't like lock myself away and do songs. Like I was just writing as as life was happening. And so, because I wanted that to translate into music, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, it just depends on like what the project is.
As an artist, how do you feel your music has impacted you outside of the religious experience? So we know worship is like we come and we worship, right? And it's good. But what has you in producing music? How has it affected you outside of it? Like maybe your mental state. Maybe like is it more of a comfort? Like when you go to your music, do you run for it for like a comfort, or is it like your go-to when you have problems? Like what's your motive ultimately, I guess, when you go to your music?
Bro, so I think I would have, maybe a few years back, I would have answered this differently, because I used to write my music as like as sermons, because I used to be a youth pastor, right? Like, so I'm coming out of this thing where like kids are like bringing me in, like, hey, have you heard this or have you done, and I'm listening to this stuff and I'm like, y'all don't need to be listening to this. What y'all need a message? Y'all need a message with music in it. Y'all need, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I was just coming out with like, so I used to write my songs like messages. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically like Bible studies, but just out there. Like, and so I had a track called, well, it was an EP called The Freedom Project, and that one had White Rags on it. It had like all these different songs on it, and that was just straight message. And I wasn't even, I felt like I was like emotionally detached from the music because I felt like I'm writing a message so that you guys can hear it. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like whatever, but now, especially this project that I'm working on, it's been so, it's been like therapy, bro. Like, it's been like therapy for me. And it's really been like my story. So it's just felt like so, like every song, I'm not trying to hype up my project or whatever, but like,
hype it up, bro.
You know
hype
what I'm saying? Like,
get ready. Once it comes out, we're gonna drop the link for you guys. So we're gonna hype him up, bro.
Yeah.
We're gonna hype you up.
So like, but like, I listen to the songs and I'm like I literally like get chills, bro, because it's something real for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote it and I was and I know what place I was at when I wrote this. You know what I'm saying?
I've listened to a lot of your music. I've listened to a lot of it. And there's a lot of rappers out there, right, that bring out their music, and I hear it, and I'm listening, but there's no content. But when I hear your message, when your songs, there is a detailed message inside of you. You listen closely, you're like, wow, I can feel what he's trying to say and what he's trying to convey, and it's amazing.
Yeah, bro. I think, especially with everything that's going on right now, like, I felt like there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. Like, I released a song like after the George Floyd thing happened, you know what I'm saying? And so I released a song called Tired, and it was just one verse, you know what I mean? And so, but before I would have never done that, but I was just like so like angry and hurt and upset about what's going on. But I also know as a believer, like, man, I need to show people hope and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, dude, what do I do? And so I just ended up writing it, and I was actually just gonna send it to my friends and be like, yo, this is kind of like what I'm feeling. They're like, bro, you need to put that out. So I just ended up putting it out, you know what I'm saying? And so, but this whole album's like that. It's like a lot of stuff I'm feeling in the moment and God having to navigate me through stuff, yeah.
I love music. I love all aspects, all genres. I really just love music. And I would think that it's difficult, when you're trying to almost meet the expectations of your audience, but still satisfy God. Because people want to hear what they want to hear, right? And so they want that from you. And it almost seems like you want to give it because it's like, hey, those are the people who are supporting you. And it's like, if you don't tell them what they want, or if they don't hear what they want to hear, and you follow through with God has been calling you to do, what you have been, do you struggle with that? I mean, do you ever struggle with the idea of like people like, Jarrell, you need to do this and do it like that, and you're just like, whoa, like.
Absolutely, bro. Like all the time I struggle with that. And in fact, the crazy thing, okay, so the crazy thing is, like, right now, the church that I'm at, right, predominantly white people, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to get racial on the podcast, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And so, bro, like, so a lot of the people there, like, they love like spoken word, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of them like hip hop or whatever, but most people they just like the spoken word because it's the words, but without the beat to distract them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me, I can process both. Like, I can hear words and turn up at the same time. but not everybody's like that. And so I've even felt the pressure to be like, man, maybe let me just like water this down a little bit so that people can, because you don't know where people are either. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know where people are. So sometimes I felt that pressure to like water things down, or even when I'm talking to dudes out in the streets, you know what I'm saying, to be like overly street with it, and I'm not even from. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not even like. I was raised on the West Side, but I had like godly parents. You know what I'm saying? So I'd see a whole lot of crazy stuff going on outside, but when we came inside, like it was Jesus all day. You know what I'm saying? And so I had the fear of God and the fear of my parents at the same time. You know what I mean? So I wasn't rolling around like in a gang or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though like my friends were, I was like, nah, fam. Like, I ain't gonna go to hell. So that's the kind of stuff like, but sometimes like if I get in a certain arena, I feel like pressured because I know the stuff that they listen to, you know what I'm saying? I feel pressured to try to become that. And it's like, at the end of the day, like I have to be me, because a prophetic, like I feel like artists are prophetic voices, right? So a prophetic voice that's like watered down, it doesn't hit as hard. You know what I'm saying? It comes out like weak and soft. If it's not a pure river, you know what I'm saying? Then it's just like a drip. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the Lord, for me, He's called me to be a prophetic voice. And so if I'm not authentic and I'm not doing what He's telling me to do, then what am I doing, bro? Like, I'm just putting out music that it's not going to impact anybody for real. You know what I mean? And even if it does resonate with people, that doesn't give me comfort, because the Bible says in the last days, people are going to bring stuff to themselves. They just want to get the stuff that they want to hear anyway. So like, I mean, that doesn't mean that those messengers are right with God. So you know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. I just want to please the Lord, you know? So I have to say the things that I feel like the Lord wants me to say.
You know, I think this is a great segue into one of your favorite topics about culture, you know, about bringing kingdom culture to the people, right? How do you go about reaching the culture, connecting? You know, I love discussing this, you know, again and again, talking about culture, because I believe we as men and women of God, we have to connect to the people, right? But I think there's a misconception when people start hearing, oh, connecting to the culture, or you're dropping your values as a man of God, you're dropping your values but that's not the case. How would you explain that to someone?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people love hearing, we're in the world but not of the world. A lot of people love to hear that, but when they actually see it, and they're saying, oh, this person is in the world, but they're not of the world. Like, there's not a lot of examples out there like that, because people are scared. Just exactly what you said. They're scared of hearing, oh, this brother is compromised. He's compromised. He's out there now. Look at him. You know what I'm saying? Look, he's falling off. Look, he took a picture with so-and-so. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Or I saw him out there at, the whole South by Southwest thing, man. Like, when you're walking down the streets of South by Southwest, like, it just smells like alcohol and weed. You know what I'm saying? And like, you just start smelling like that just because you walk down the street. Like, that's just how it is, bro. And there's literally like a spiritual, I mean, my wife and I, we were walking down the streets one time. We had to like walk to our car. And there's like, we got to our car, bro, and we were so tired, and it wasn't because we were out of shape. Like, we felt like the spiritual, like, oppression, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people aren't used to that, because they're used to being in the church, bro, where like the atmosphere is all light and everybody's happy and everybody loves Jesus and all this kind of stuff. But when you're actually in the world, people will judge you like they did Jesus. Oh, you're a friend of sinners. Look at you. You know what I mean? Like, they'll start saying all that kind of stuff. And bro, I just think we have to go and be Jesus in the culture, but not at the same time, not compromise who we are on the inside. Jesus said in John, He said, sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth, right? So sanctification like happens on the inside. We're set apart on the inside, not on the outside. If we were set apart on the outside, then God would just take us up to heaven as soon as we got saved, right? Because He would want to snatch us out of the world, right? But that's not it. Like, he wants us to remain here. The thing that makes us different is what's going on the inside of our hearts, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like that's a major key. And I got another thing, just depending on how we are with time. Like, what's good? Okay. Yeah. So when we talk about culture, man, I think that Christians, a lot of times we've been guilty with going into a place, not even knowing about the place, and then just saying, you need Jesus, and this is what it looks like for you. And if you don't do it like this, then you're not born again. You know what I'm saying? You're not following Jesus if you don't do it this way. And it's been happening like that in the New Testament. It happened in the New Testament where these guys were going to the Gentiles and they were saying, unless you become circumcised, you're not going to be born again. Imagine being a Gentile, bro. You know what I'm saying? Imagine being a Gentile at that time, hearing these Jews say, unless you're circumcised, you're not going to be able to, Gentiles were like, man, that's crazy, bro. Like, what are y'all talking about? And so, like, but we've been, as Christians, we've been doing that since then. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll go into places, raid places, do all these different things, do ungodly stuff, and then say, this is what Jesus looks like for you. And if you don't do this, then you're not born again. But like a missionary, a wise missionary, Proverbs 11:30 says, he who wins souls is wise, right? So a wise missionary goes in and says, what's happening? What can be redeemed from this culture, right? Like, what can be redeemed? Yeah, what can be brought back from this culture? So if I was, me as a black man coming into San Antonio, which is predominantly Hispanic, I wouldn't be like, yo, I have the truth here, so, but y'all also have to do everything that I do as a black man, right? That would be crazy, right? I would, you know what I'm saying? God hasn't designed it like that. The way that God is going to get glory from every nation, every tribe and tongue is because there's going to be people from every nation, tribe, and tongue coming at the throne room, and they're going to be represented. So as a wise missionary, I would have to say, man, how does the Hispanic culture operate? What are the driving principles? What are the driving forces behind that?
Fiesta, Barbacoa and Big Red, right? The Molino early at 6 a.m.
Right. All of the above. And so I have to understand that and not demonize it, but embrace it and be like, yo, this is how we live here in San Antonio, and then figure out, okay, what's a great entry point to point people back to Jesus? Like Paul did that. He went to in Acts 17. He goes to the city. He sees that the city's full of idols, but he sees this altar that says to an unknown God. He goes to that and says, I know that God that you think is unknown. I know that God, and this is who he is. But he didn't just start going down and saying, man, all of y'all going to hell because it's idolatry, and y'all need to be doing what we're doing. He didn't do all that. You know what I'm saying? He found an entry point into the culture of that time and said, okay, we're gonna take this and show as many people Jesus as we can through this entry point. And so I feel like when it comes to art, right, we have to do the same thing. I'm not gonna go into the art community and be like, bro, why y'all painting skeletons, and why are y'all painting Virgin Mary with the bloody eyes? Why are y'all doing that, man? Y'all going to hell? I'm not gonna do that, bro. But I will probably say something about that painting and be like, man, what inspired that? You know what I'm saying? See the entry point into how I can tell them about Jesus, the true and living God.
Even for me, talking to somebody one-on-one that I don't know, how important it is to establish a relationship, a bridge of communication with that individual. Back in the day, I used to have people shout me down to hell, telling me, oh, you're going to go to hell. And I couldn't care. Back in the day, I didn't care if I went to hell. I could care less until somebody actually established a relationship with me, and I was able to experience the true love of God. I opened up, and even lately now I've been working on, establishing a connection, a relationship with people, a bridge, so I can talk with them, regardless of who they are, what they look like, what they sound like, where they come from, and I find that way more effective.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So all my I've been blessed to actually grow up around a lot of different cultures. So my dad, again, my mom and dad, they were in the military. So we actually grew up on base housing for like a long time. So base housing, there's like blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? There's all these different kinds of races of people on the base. So I built friends there. We moved from there to the west side, you know what I'm saying, near Memorial, you know what I'm saying? I didn't because I was homeschooled. So I was homeschooled a lot of my years, you know what I'm saying? And so, but yeah, all of my friends went to Memorial, all the people that played at Loma Park, you know what I'm saying? They're like, Memorial Minutemen, all this stuff. And yeah, Loma Park.
So you're here, you're making music, you're doing unspoken, you're traveling. What started this? What was the beginning point? Like, what snapped in your head? Like for me, when I was younger, I always tell this, like I would always mimic my father when he would preach. I would hear him like in the other room, and I would just hear him like, in the name of Jesus, and I would just be in the back like, just saying it with no real attention to what was happening. And God sparked that, and I guess once I came in more as far as my calling and kind of recognizing that God wants to do something more than just playing the drums, I went back to that time where I can recall like me mimicking my father. Was there a pivotal point in your life where you can say like, man, like, okay, this happened for a reason, maybe I need to jump into art? Or was it just more of like, you know what, I just like hip hop and I like to rap? What was it?
Yeah, I'm not really sure that there was like that's a great question. I'm not sure that there was like a pivotal moment for me like that. I just knew that God gave me the gift and I just wanted to like steward it. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to steward it well. So I remember I was like real little, and of course like in our house we were just watching Christian TV, and this guy comes up, this CCM guy, like contemporary Christian music, and he's singing and whatever, and then he like busts into this little rap, and everything that I knew about rap from that point was bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, all these guys are bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Did we just discover your pivotal point?
yeah. So I, if I did have a pivotal point, I think it would be like that space, because this guy was like rapping, and I was like, dude, I didn't even know you could do that. You know what I'm saying? As a Christian. So I ended up doing that, and then I started hearing like more stuff, and I was like, man, this is actually like a need. And the more that I did it, I was like, dude, hip hop, I think it was like a couple of years ago, hip hop became the #1 genre, it beat rock. And that was like this big thing, because rock was like on the top of the pedestal, and hip hop ended up beating that. So I was like, dude, this is not just like a good idea. Doing hip hop is not just a good idea, but like it's the way that we communicate right now. You know what I'm saying? Like commercials and all these other things, like it's commercialized right now. So everybody's doing hip hop, and now because of the whole Black Lives Matter thing, everybody wants to feel like they're validated, and they bring in the hip hop and they bring in the black voices and all this other stuff. And so I feel like right now, I just wanted to continue to steward that gift and continue to do what God has for me.
What would you tell an up-and-coming artist who's who's rapping, or maybe they're doing unspoken word? What advice would you give them as they were to take this next journey as far as being an artist in this circular world?
Asking for a friend?
Asking for a friend. Not for me, but for a friend, for Martin.
You heard it here first.
Y'all heard it too.
Lorraine.
I'm about to drop an album next week.
Lorraine, you about to drop a Hot 16, bro. Man, bro, there's so much that I can say on that, man, as far as like just advice. But I would just say, just stick to what the Lord has called you to do, man. There's so many like copycats. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like in the industry, when one thing works, then everybody wants to do that one thing because everybody wants to get on and everybody wants to do whatever. And so, but I think that a lot of people miss that the distinction is in the difference. Like, how are you different than anybody else? You know what I'm saying? And so, for me, I feel like, man, God has called me to be unique. He's called me to be different. But the Bible says that all of us are different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a specific voice. And so finding that voice is the most important thing that you can do, because when you do that, you draw other people who are supposed to hear that voice. You know what I'm saying? You draw those people in. And so if I'm playing a trumpet, you know what I'm saying? Everybody who likes trumpet is going to listen to that. I'm not going to get everybody in the whole world, but everybody who likes trumpet is going to listen to that voice, listen to that. And so for me, I have a very clear message. I have a very distinct voice in how I present that. And so God is up to how far it goes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and who's gonna hear it, who's gonna respond. But if I'm trying to imitate other people, then I'm always gonna be fighting for fans. I'm gonna be fighting for attention from people that are not even really looking for me. They're looking because I'm the imitation. They're looking for somebody else, and I'm always gonna be in this war of fighting with other people. So be your own person, like, because God's created us different. So,
and it's very inspiring, because what you're doing and what you're continuing to do, and I know God's going to take you great places, and we're glad we're your friends. So when you do make it big, you can always say you came on Radtalks. So don't forget. Don't forget, Jarrell. Do not forget.
I got you, bro. Radtalks.
Yeah, don't forget. Before we go, how important is your music for you, your own self,
yeah,
daily life? How important is that?
Yeah, man, are you talking about like how important is it for me to write, to listen,
and everything? Yeah, I mean, you want to narrow it down, that's fine. But what does writing just mean to you, or what is it like? Does it set you like free in a sense of where because I know like we all get attacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, writing really helps me process everything that's going on like around me. So, and that's like the physical act of like getting a pen, getting a pad, and like just writing stuff down. So that for me helps me to just process my emotions and all that kind of stuff. And so I find myself doing that. Like, so and it's not just music, I think it's like just a writing process. So it just helps me to figure out, okay, this is what I'm thinking, this is whatever. Or sometimes I remember when I was even younger, I would just sketch and do just stuff like that, just because it just helps me to get my feelings out. And I didn't really know that about myself until like, I probably say about 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I didn't know that about myself until then, because I always thought about music as like this mode for ministry and preaching. And so, which it is, like, I totally think that it is, but when you approach it like that, you don't approach it as a personal thing. Like, you don't have like a relationship with art. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's just a message that somebody else needs to hear. It's like when pastors, after they've been doing it for so long, it's like, bro, I'm just gonna write this out because the church needs to hear this right now. And there's no like real relationship with what they're writing. Like, I felt like I got to that place. And so I think now I'm finding out like, oh wow, writing is like good for me. Like, I need to process and I need to, So for me, it's important, man, even just for my mental health. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of crazy things happening right now in the world, and I just have been writing. So whether it's like a blog or whether it's like a song that may never even come out, like I just.
So what's your blog, by the way?
So I have a website called freedommusicgroup.com, and so with all that, I have like blog posts, stuff like that, and or sometimes I do newsletters too to our Rise community, just whatever God's putting in my heart at that time. So I send stuff out like that, and then of course like I'm always posting stuff that are not songs, but it's just stuff that's going on in my head, right? Like stuff and on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And I'm just stuff that's going on in my head, and I'm like, okay, I need to put this down somehow. And so yeah, but it's good for me, you know. It's kind of frees me up a little bit.
Yeah, I think us accessing our a different side from what we're used to. We get into what we actually pull us. Having that extra activity, keeps us, at least saying there's a balance. And I think it's important for us to access our creativity side, so that way we can, do so much, because God has a whole bunch from us. Listen, man, we're gonna be wrapping it up, but we cannot wait for your new album. And I guess you'll give us on the details when it's gonna drop. Do you have a date for it yet, or?
Bro, so I have like one more song to mix, and the album is done. So I'm excited about it. I'm working with this group that's doing distribution for me, so it's gonna go a long way. Like the project's gonna go a long way. I have a really good feeling about it. I featured a lot of artists here from San Antonio just because that was one of the things that I wanted to do with the project. I wanted to say, this is San Antonio, and this is who we are. This is like some of the people that are here and that are represented. So I wanted to put that out, and so I feel like it's a good representation, because it's just such a mix of songs. They're like there's gospel on there, there's trap on there, there's like some slower kind of stuff, spoken word kind of vibes, you know what I'm saying, some pop kind of vibes. So, bro, it's gonna be pretty interesting. But yeah, if you follow me on social media, I'll be dropping the pre-order link soon. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, guys. So if you haven't already, go to Jarrell Flowers on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, everything's Jarrell, Jarrell FMG for Freedom Music Group, and so. Yeah, Jarrell FMG on everything, and yeah, be looking out.
Yeah. I just want to say, I just want to let you know, me when I meet somebody, I got this motive. How can I get this gift out of this person? And it's just a thought, not even a question, but what you're doing here, you're doing it on a mass scale. You are reaching out to multiple people, extracting this gift out of them to be able to not just. To be able to express themselves, but to minister to the world. And I want you to know that you have people out there that you don't even know support you, such as myself, people that have been praying over you. So what you're doing, hey, we got you, bro. We've been praying for you, and I love what you're doing. It's called Rise, correct?
Yeah. So the creative community that my wife and I started is called the Rise Movement. And so with that, we've got a whole lot of cool stuff coming out soon.
Anyone? I mean, as far as...
Yeah, I mean, so we're what we're called is a yeah.
I mean, you may see somebody that look like me, but I'm just saying it might be a cousin.
Right. So we're a missional community. So we're focused around the mission of taking Jesus into the art space of our city. So people who are about that mission and wanna work to see that go forward. That's who Rise is for. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Well, we know once it drops, we're going to be bumping it. We're here to support, and we thank you for being on the show with us. And maybe next time, man.
Bro, thank you.
Next time, maybe we can do a spoken word next time.
Come on, somebody. I'm ready.
We'll set it up, man. But, yeah, man, it was great. I know there's a lot of people who I know who are interested in just the whole artist, idea of it. And, just to bring you on was just an honor. We've known you for a long time, and you're a great friend. So guys, if you haven't already follow Jarrell Flowers right now, or after we get done, go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. He's there everywhere. Go to Rise, go to his profile, follow it, get his music. I promise you will not regret it.
Yeah, bro. So, thank you so much, man. It's been cool hanging out with you. And Martin, it's good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Yeah.
Well, guys, this is the end. We can't wait to see y'all next time on Radtalks. If you haven't already, like, comment, share, and we'll see you next time. God bless.